Halo, hamjambo. Jina langu ni George Lohai. Tunawaletea simulizi za hadithi mbalimbali kwa Kiingereza zitakazoletwa kwenu na Mjomba Mark.
Howdy buckaroos, I'm Mjomba Mark, and it is story time. Our first story in the series is going to be Caps for Sale, a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. Now before we get started, let me tell you what caps are. Caps are small hats, not like the big hat that I'm wearing, but small caps that you put on your head. A peddler is a person who sells things, and monkey business is just mischief. Okay, let's begin our story. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler who sold things, who carried his wares on his back. He carried them up on his head. First he had on his own checkered cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of blue caps, then a bunch of brown caps, and on the very top a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. He went along and he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said. And he walked out of town slowly, so as not to upset his caps. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put his hand up to feel if they were straight. First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the top. They were all there. So he went to sleep and slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his checkered cap. He looked to the right of him, no cap. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, no caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or brown or blue or red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them, "you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler angry. So he shook both hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both his feet and he shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet and shouted back at him, "Tss, tss, tss." At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap, threw it on the ground, and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. and all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly he walked back to town, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. I hope you enjoyed that story, children. We will be doing more stories in this series, and I hope that you enjoy that. Bye-bye.